Hashtag every night at 2:17 a.m., my daughter talks to someone in the closet. The first time I heard my daughter's laughter at 2:17 a.m., I thought it was just another challenge of single motherhood, the strange sounds children make in their sleep. By the third night, I knew something was wrong. By the fifth night, I was terrified. What I discovered in that closet changed everything I believed about our world, and if you stay until the end of this story, you'll understand why I can never look at a closed door the same way again. If you're enjoying this tale of mystery and motherhood, please consider hitting that like button and subscribing to the channel. Your support helps bring more stories like this one to life, especially those that highlight the unique journey of single parents. The digital clock on my nightstand flipped to 2:17 a.m. when I first heard it, the unmistakable sound of my 6-year-old daughter Emma's laughter floating down the hallway. Not the boisterous giggles that usually filled our small apartment during daylight hours, but a hushed, conspiratorial kind of laughter, as if she was sharing secrets with someone. I bolted upright, my heart racing. The apartment was otherwise silent, no television left on, no music playing. Just Emma's voice, too faint to make out words, but clear enough to recognize the cadence of conversation. By the time I reached her bedroom door, the talking had stopped. I found her fast asleep, or at least pretending to be, her small chest rising and falling beneath her rainbow comforter, dark curls splayed across her pillow. The closet door was firmly shut. I checked inside anyway, finding nothing but hanging clothes and stuffed animals. I convinced myself it had been a dream and went back to bed. The next night, nothing happened. I slept through until morning, relieved. But on the third night, the clock again read 2:17 a.m. when I woke to the sound of Emma's voice. This time, I moved faster, quietly pushing her door open without knocking. "Who are you talking to, sweetheart?" I asked, flipping on the light. Emma sat cross-legged on her bed, facing the closet. She turned to me with wide, innocent eyes that showed no trace of sleep. "My friend," she said simply. "What friend, Emma? There's no one here." She pointed to the closet. "He only comes at night. He's shy." A chill ran through me. "There's someone in your closet?" She nodded. "He's sad because he's lost. I'm helping him." I checked the closet again, more thoroughly this time, moving clothes aside and looking behind toy bins. Nothing. "See? No one's here, honey. You were dreaming." "He left when you came in," she said with the absolute certainty that only children possess. "He always does." I sat with her until she fell asleep again, the closet door left wide open. I called my mother about it in the morning, and she suggested it was just an imaginary friend. Normal developmental behavior. Nothing to worry about. Single parenting is hard enough without inventing new things to worry about, Olivia, she said. Children create imaginary friends. It's healthy. But by the fifth night, worry had transformed into dread. I'd been waking up at 2:16 a.m., as if my body had set an internal alarm, and waiting. Like clockwork, at 2:17, Emma's voice would start. Sometimes laughing, sometimes speaking in hushed, urgent tones. I'd rush to her room only to find her alone, the closet empty, and her insisting that her friend had just left. "What's your friend's name?" I asked her over breakfast. "He doesn't have one anymore," she said, stirring her cereal. "He forgot it." "What does he look like?" She shrugged. "Like fog, but with eyes." "He's cold." That night, I decided to hide in Emma's room before bedtime. I told her I was checking for monsters under the bed, then slipped into her closet while she was in the bathroom brushing her teeth. I left the door cracked just enough to see her bed. I read her a story, kissed her goodnight, and pretended to leave, quietly returning to my hiding spot. I waited in uncomfortable silence, cramped among hanging clothes and toy bins, checking the luminous dial of my watch every few minutes. Hours passed. Emma slept peacefully. My legs cramped. My back ached. My eyelids grew heavy. At exactly 2:17 a.m., the temperature in the closet plummeted. My breath clouded in front of my face. Through the crack in the door, I saw Emma sit up in bed, fully awake, as if she'd been expecting this moment. "You're back," she said, smiling at the closet, at me, I thought. But then I felt it. A presence behind me in the closet, where there should have been only wall. A cold pressure against my back, like someone leaning over my shoulder. I couldn't move. Couldn't breathe. Couldn't scream. "My mommy's in there tonight," I heard Emma say. "She wants to meet you." A whisper came from behind me, not in my ear but somehow inside my head. A voice like rustling leaves, like static between radio stations. Asterisk, does she want to help me find my way home too? Asterisk. I must have blacked out. The next thing I knew, sunlight was streaming through the windows. I was lying on the floor of Emma's room, the closet door wide open. Emma was already up, sitting at her little table, drawing pictures. "Mommy, why did you sleep on my floor?" she asked, looking up from her artwork. "Did you have a bad dream?" I couldn't explain. Couldn't find words for what I'd experienced. Instead, I went to see what Emma was drawing. It was a picture of a house, not our apartment, but an old Victorian-style building with a steep roof and many windows. In front of it stood 3 figures, a small one with dark curly hair that must have been Emma, a taller one with long brown hair that looked like me, and between us, a gray, misty shape with 2 bright blue dots for eyes. "What's this, sweetheart?" I asked, my voice steadier than I felt. "The place where my friend used to live," she said without looking up. "Before the fire." My blood ran cold. "What fire?" "The one that made him lost. He doesn't remember how to go to the light, so he's stuck. But we're going to help him, right, Mommy?" I took the drawing with trembling hands and went straight to my laptop. I searched for house fires in our town, then expanded to the county, then the state. It took hours, but finally, I found it. A news article from 1973 about a Victorian home that had burned down just 3 miles from where our apartment building now stood. A family of 4 had died, including a 7-year-old boy. The house in the article looked exactly like the one in Emma's drawing. That night, I didn't hide in the closet. Instead, I sat with Emma at bedtime and asked her directly about her friend. "He's scared," she told me. "He doesn't know he's dead. He thinks he's just lost and can't find his parents." "How do you know all this, Emma?" I asked, trying to keep my voice calm. She looked at me as if I'd asked why the sky was blue. "He told me. And I just know things sometimes, Mommy. Grandpa says I have the gift, like he did. My father had always claimed to have the sight, as he called it. I'd dismissed it as superstition, but now I wasn't so sure. Dad had passed away just a year before Emma was born, and sometimes I saw glimpses of him in her, not just in her mannerisms, but in the way she seemed to understand things beyond her years. "What does your friend want?" "He wants to go home, but he doesn't know where it is anymore. Everything looks different now." I showed her the article I'd found, carefully explaining what had happened to the boy and his family. She nodded solemnly, unsurprised. "That's why he's cold all the time," she said. "Because of the fire." That night, at 2:17 a.m., I was sitting in Emma's room with her, waiting. The temperature dropped suddenly, and I felt the same presence I'd felt in the closet, though this time it remained there, behind the closed door. "It's okay," Emma called softly. "My mommy's here to help. You can come out." The closet door creaked open slowly, though no one was visibly pushing it. A cold mist seeped into the room, coalescing into a vaguely human-shaped cloud with 2 luminous blue points where eyes should be. I wanted to run. Every instinct screamed danger. But Emma reached out and took my hand, her small fingers surprisingly warm and steady. "He's scared too, Mommy," she whispered. Just like you. And somehow, through my daughter's eyes, I saw not a ghost or a supernatural entity, but a child, lost, confused, and frightened. A boy not so different from what Emma might have been, had circumstances been different. "We know where your home was," I said, my voice shaking. "But it's gone now. There's something better waiting for you, though. Your family is there." The misty shape drifted closer. The cold intensified. How do I find them? The voice again, inside my head, small and uncertain. Emma answered before I could. "You have to look for the light, silly. I told you before. It's always there, but you have to want to see it." "I'm scared," the voice said. "I know," Emma replied. "But being stuck here is scarier, isn't it? Don't you want to be warm again?" The mist seemed to pulse, expanding and contracting like breathing. Then, slowly, it began to brighten from within, the blue eyes growing more intense. I think. "I see something," the voice whispered. It's far away, but it's bright." "That's it," Emma exclaimed, squeezing my hand. "Go to it. Run." The mist grew brighter still, shifting from gray to white to a soft gold. The cold receded, replaced by a gentle warmth that reminded me of spring sunshine. "Thank you," the voice said, fainter now. I'm not lost anymore." The light flared once, brilliantly, then faded. The presence was gone. The closet was just a closet again. Emma yawned and crawled back under her covers as if nothing extraordinary had happened. "He found his way home," she said sleepily. "He won't be back." I sat there in the dark for a long time after she fell asleep, trying to process what I'd witnessed. Part of me wanted to dismiss it as an elaborate shared hallucination, a product of suggestion and an overactive imagination. But I knew better. In the morning, I called my mother and told her everything. To my surprise, she believed me immediately. "Your father always said Emma would have the gift," she said quietly. "He saw it in her even before she was born." "What do I do now?" I asked. She sighed. "Nothing. Your daughter helped a lost soul find peace. I'd say that's something to be proud of, not afraid of." Over the next few weeks, I researched the history of our land more thoroughly. I discovered that our entire apartment complex had been built on property once belonging to the family from the article. Their son, David, had been the last to be found in the ruins of the house, in what had once been his bedroom closet, where he'd apparently hidden from the flames. Exactly where Emma's closet now stood. We considered moving, but as a single mother on a teacher's salary, our options were limited. Besides, Emma insisted there was nothing to fear. "He was the only one who got stuck," she told me confidently. "The others all found the light right away." "How do you know that?" I asked. She shrugged. "Grandpa told me. In my dream. My father had passed away 5 years ago. As the months passed, life returned to normal. Emma slept through the night. The closet remained just a closet. But sometimes, when I pass by her room late at night, I pause and check the time. And if it's 2:17 a.m., I say a silent thank you to the boy who found his way home, and to my remarkable daughter who helped him. I've come to believe that there are more layers to our world than most of us ever see. That sometimes, the boundaries between the living and the dead, between past and present, grow thin enough to cross. And that children, with their open hearts and minds unclouded by skepticism, can sometimes be better guides through these mysteries than adults. Emma is 9 now, and while she doesn't remember much about her closet friend, as we call him, she still sometimes knows things she shouldn't know, sees things others miss. We've learned to listen when she tells us something important, even if it seems impossible. Last week, she asked if we could visit the memorial garden that was planted where the old Victorian house once stood. We brought flowers and placed them by the small stone marker bearing the family's name. As we were leaving, Emma tugged my hand and pointed to a bench beneath a large oak tree. "He's there," she whispered. "With his mom and dad and sister. They're happy." I couldn't see anything, but I felt it, a pocket of warmth on that chilly autumn day, a sense of peace that hadn't been there before. "They want to say thank you," Emma said. "For helping them be together again." I nodded, unable to speak past the lump in my throat. On the drive home, Emma fell asleep in the back seat. I glanced at her in the rearview mirror, this child who had come into my life when I thought all hope was lost. After her father walked out on us when I was 7 months pregnant, I'd been terrified of raising her alone. How could I possibly be enough? But looking at her now, I realized that she had never been just mine to raise. She had been guided by unseen hands, my father's spirit, perhaps, or something even greater. And in turn, she had become a guide herself, helping lost souls find their way home. Being a single mother had its challenges, the financial struggles, the loneliness, the constant worry that I wasn't doing enough. But it also had moments of profound grace, like this one, when I realized that Emma and I were never truly alone. That night, I checked on Emma before going to bed myself. She was sleeping peacefully, her closet door slightly ajar as she now preferred it. On her nightstand was a new drawing, the Victorian house again, but this time whole and undamaged, with 4 smiling figures standing in front of it, holding hands. And in the corner of the drawing, almost as an afterthought, was another figure, a man with my father's kind eyes and gentle smile, watching over them all. I gently closed her door and checked my watch out of habit. It was 2:17 a.m. But this time, all was quiet. All was well. The next morning, over breakfast, Emma looked up from her cereal with that serious expression that always reminded me of my father. "Mommy," she said, "I think there are other people who need help finding their way home." I paused, coffee mug halfway to my lips. "What do you mean, sweetheart?" "I had a dream last night. Grandpa said there are lots of lost people. Not just the ones who died, but living people too. People who forgot where they belong." I thought about my life before Emma, how lost I had felt after her father left, how I'd struggled to find my purpose, my place in the world. "And how do we help these people?" I asked. She smiled, a smile full of wisdom beyond her years. "The same way we help the boy in the closet. We show them the light. We remind them they're not alone." That evening, I started a blog about our experience. I didn't expect anyone to believe it, but I felt compelled to share our story. To my surprise, comments began flooding in, from other single parents who had experienced inexplicable things with their children, from people who had lost loved ones and received mysterious signs, from individuals who felt lost and were searching for their own light. What began as a simple blog grew into a support group, then a community center where single parents could find resources, childcare, and most importantly, connection. We named it the 217 Project, and its mission was simple: to help the lost find their way home. Emma is 12 now, and she still sometimes talks to people the rest of us can't see. But more often, she talks to the living, the single mother struggling to make ends meet, the child being bullied at school, the elderly neighbor who lost his wife. She has an uncanny ability to know exactly what they need to hear, exactly what light they need to see. People often ask me if I'm afraid of the supernatural after what we experienced. I tell them no, what frightens me more is the thought of going through life with blinders on, missing the connections that bind us all, living and dead. Being a single mother taught me that we are stronger than we know. That even when we feel most alone, we are surrounded by unseen support. That sometimes, the greatest gifts come from our deepest challenges.